So how'd you guys crack it?
A young detective, Dexter Morgan.
Maybe she could help us?
She died. Her brother, too. He had a little son. What was his name? Oh, yeah. Harrison.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are talking about Dexter New Blood episode 5 Runaway, and it is also the 5th day in my advent calendar Christmas special, which is our usual stuff, film, TV, everything like that. But we also have a Christmas tree that I got you all that have little silver stars on it. And we also wear some fun Christmas sweatshirts. So it's pretty much that and business as usual. And I release a video every single day in December. So if you want to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, make sure your notifications are turned on. And while you're down there, why not hit the like button? It really helps out the channel and I would super appreciate it. So thank you to anyone who does that. And let's get on to talking about Dexter episode 5. So this episode was actually held from the critics, from the screeners, and a lot of people always say that they do this because it's either a really good episode or it's a really bad episode. And with Showtime specifically, that's not actually the case. They've started doing this with the revivals, reboots, whatever you want to call them. And if there is a returning character, they generally hold the episodes. Last season, season 1 with the L Word, they had Laura Holloman returning in episode 6 and they held that from screeners and they didn't give it out as a screener at all. This did come out a few days ago and I was surprised. I thought that they would hold it because generally info, screenshots, it slips out. They will blacklist you if you share anything. So I think that people mostly kept it to themselves. And the big special returning guest in this episode was, of course, Angel Batista returning, which I was so happy. I thought it was just great. I love when they have things like this for us original fans of shows to, you know, just have fun again, have the cast member back. So I'll talk more specifically about Angel and his return and what's it mean in a little bit. But let's first talk about Dexter. So Dexter in this episode is behaving very erratically and different, and it is not the old Dexter that we know, who is very focused, knows exactly what he's doing, has thought of everything. This Dexter is rusty. He's only killed Matt in the past 10 plus years, and we see him going about basically revenge, or vengeance is what he tells Deb that it is, and that is born out of obviously his love for Harrison and not something that he's used to feeling. And he goes and basically loads up on ketamine from the vet and all the other things that he needs, syringes, and even gets some plastic wrap from her. And we see him going after the dealers that Harrison had got the drugs from in the episode.
Hey, stay away from my son!
So yes, Harrison had got these drugs at a party, and I do think we got a little bit too much of the camera on him when he was rolling.
He thinks I'm a liar. He's a fucking liar.
What are you talking about?
And like hearing Travis Scott and stuff. The one thing I did think was good with the music in the party scene was when Harrison has the knife and he cuts that girl. The song, like Dexter's music that plays over his monologue, or like, you know, when he's doing something at the end of an episode or dark passenger-ish, then there was a new song playing for Harrison, but it had parts of Dexter's song like placed in it. So it kind of had that familiarity to it. But I do think that Dexter is really getting himself into it. Like, he's obviously rusty. And I don't know whether this was a filming mistake or what, but when Dexter is attacking the first drug dealer and he's in the trunk of his car, boot of his car, and he ejects him, the needle looks like it falls on the floor. So I don't know whether that will mean anything. Probably not.
Shit. Time for plan B.
But it's not the old Dexter who is like, you know, 5 moves ahead of Miami Metro. He really is acting upon his emotions here, and the thing that made Dexter such an effective killer and such an effective monster was the fact that he didn't have these emotions, and now he does, and they're ruling him like they rule everyone else.
Bay Harbor Butcher was a challenge for a variety of reasons. Not the least
I did an episode on this once. They actually thought it was a cop from the same department, being right next to a serial killer.
So to talk specifically about Angel and his return, again, I thought it was great. I know some people are like, oh, it's so contrived and so this, and it's like, this is fan service. Like, leave people alone, let them enjoy things. Like, yes, it is. Like, how else are they gonna have Angel return? Like, we all know that Dexter isn't in Miami anymore. Like, of course they have to do something like this, and it's television. Like, this is what happens. I'd rather they do this and we see original cast members than them just ignore it. So I don't know, I liked it, I enjoyed it, and what I thought was going to happen was, because I was pretty sure that they're going to have this lead some way to Angela finding out, and I thought that Angela was going to go up to Angel and tell him about the case, and then she would basically open her phone and like show him the missing girls, and then there'd be like a picture of her and Dexter or something. And then when that didn't happen and they were sitting at the table,
Maybe she can help us?
She died. Her brother too, tragic, really. He had a little son. What was his name? Oh yeah, Harrison. Cute kid.
I thought, because all these people have been saying how much Julia Jones or Angela reminds them of Deb of Jennifer Carpenter, and even the way like she plays the character. So I thought this was like setting up a long run of Angel being like, oh, you know what, you remind me of her, and showing her a picture. But that might have been a bit too like heavy-handed. So again, like, yeah, some people are saying it's too much that he mentioned this, but to me it made sense. Like, he was talking about the case, and also like the whole coincidence thing. I've had crazier things happen. Like, I've had a friend in the UK and a friend in the US who were hitting on each other in a bar in Spain, and both figured out that they knew me. Like, it's the world. There's a lot of coincidences. This is not the most insane thing I've ever seen. So I really enjoyed Angel being there, and at the end of the episode we obviously see Angela figuring it out. And again, I don't think that's far-fetched. She had if you type most people, she'd probably type Deborah Morgan, Miami. We even saw in the original show, remember when Trinity was tracking down Dexter, like D. Morgan was coming up and he thought it was Dexter's house or Dexter's apartment, but Deb was living in there at the time. So I'm really excited to see where they go with this now that Angela knows, because we're literally at the halfway point of the season already. One thing I will say is I was really glad that this episode was actually an hour instead of, the 40 minutes that we've been getting the past couple of episodes. Speaking of Trinity, I was getting super Trinity vibes from Kurt Caldwell in this episode, because there was a lot of things, like one, the song, him going in and playing it and, being very affected by it. Like, that is very similar to Arthur Mitchell. And then you also had this ritual way that he wanted to kill the girls, and Arthur was exactly the same way. In the scene where he's like, this is not how it's supposed to go, there's a scene in season 4 literally like that where Arthur says a really similar thing. They're both, you know, tall white men with grey hair. I know that's not the most biggest thing to say there. They look similar, but they kind of do. And they're like similar ages and stuff like that too. So I do think that there is like a strong comparison going on here. I know last episode we were kind of left ambiguous about whether it is absolutely Kurt or whether we were being like set up. But I said way back in episode 1 or 2 in my review that I was pretty sure that it was Kurt who was killing the girls. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I do think that there was a bit too much of it in this episode because we, the audience, already knew that it was Kurt. So the characters are having to catch up with us in the same way that the characters were having to catch up to us, like Angela and Molly in this episode too. So when you have two storylines going on like that where the audience is ahead, it kind of, you know, can slow down the pace a little bit. So now that everybody is getting a bit more on the page, like, okay, Angela knows about Dexter and we all know it's Kurt, but obviously the rest don't, then we need to have some reveals to pick up the pace a bit. I mean, when it comes to Kurt, I am kind of in two minds. So we know that he's been doing this for a really long time. I think we're supposed to believe Iris was his first kill, and that was when Angela was a teenager, so she's like a middle-aged woman now. I feel like this is something either to do with Kurt's wife, Matt's mom, or like Arthur Mitchell, something from his childhood. So one of the two. I'm sure that there will be some reveal with this because they you know, this isn't like normal killer who's like killing for the sake of it. Like there's a whole ritual and the music and everything, and Tess saying, oh, he does this every few months, and we've seen the board with all the victims. So it's a long time this has been going on for, with a specific type of woman in a specific place, a specific song, specific day, specific type of killing, everything like that. So there really is some deep reasoning and meaning for it. Three little things here I wanted to put in here because I'm not sure where else to put them, but I did like when Angel was back and he was talking about, oh, it's not what he's used to and New York's cold compared to Miami. I thought that was like a little nod because the actor who plays Angel actually used to be a New York City police officer, so I thought that was a little, you know, wink. And then also the song at the very end of the episode, I'm sure a lot of people know this, was It's Ketamine by the band Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum, which is Michael C. Hall's band. So I thought that was cool. That was him singing. And I also, when it comes to the show, I wonder what last name Harrison is using. Maybe Hannah changed his last name to McKay, because if he's still going by Harrison Morgan, that's pretty easy for everyone to figure out. So I don't know, maybe he's going by Lindsey. It's kind of weird because they obviously will have got his transcripts and stuff, which we know they definitely did get his transcripts. So I wonder what last name he's using.
You know his real name is not even Jim Lindsey?
Okay, come on. Come with me.
You believe me, right?
So to talk specifically about the very end, Angela figures it out when her daughter says his name is not Jim Lindsey, and then
Harrison said something weird right before he passed out. He said his dad's name isn't Jim Lindsey.
Harrison, Morgan, blah, 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 Deborah, and she prints out Dexter's obituary.
Cut that thread, and we're all just falling into space.
And what is going to happen there? I mean, we obviously see in the trailer she confronts Dexter straight away. I do like how we're not having to wait. Like Dexter with the razor and Angela straight away confronting Dexter. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure he'll try and talk his way out of it and say he wanted to, you know, move on and all this stuff. And I wonder if he's going to tell her about Deb or about Rita, and maybe use the Rita thing to say, like, I wanted a clean break. And then maybe she's like, well, why are you working in a hunting shop and you were police? So I think that a lot of that will be brought into it. So we shall definitely see next episode what's going on. We only have 5 episodes left, and I think that there's a lot of good theories out there. I know the biggest question is what is going on with Harrison? Like, is he the new blood that is in the title? And I just have had this thing since the very beginning that I do not think Harrison is going to be a killer. Like, I just don't think so. So maybe they're playing me really well, but I just keep going back to, I don't think so. Every so often I'll be like, maybe, but I just don't think so. So let me know if you have any theories, thoughts, ideas down in the comment section. Again, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and you have your notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any videos or updates. And if you want to check me out on social media, look at my Patreon or my merch store. Everything is linked in the description box. And I also have a second channel that is just starting, going into more deep dives and long videos. So if that is something that you would be interested in, check that out as well. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.